I may or may not need your help, ladies and gentlemen, okay? I went to Costco the other day. They had LaCroix on sale, and now I am addicted. This has been the last 30 minutes, and I've had 3. So if this is an issue, if this is going to cause any health effects, if I'm going to start losing my hair or something because of this, you got to let me know. You got to help me out. But, I mean, as I wait to see your response on that, you know what we're doing. We're going to be hopping in a 2023 fantasy football draft on Underdog right now. Let's get into Best Ball Mania. This is a $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool for anybody who's just now coming out here. I mean, I'm assuming 99% of y'all are already drafting on Underdog and know what's going on. But Best Ball, no time commitment at all during the season. Your best starting lineup will be submitted for you at the end of each and every week. No waiver wires. It's how we drafted over 700 teams on Underdog last year. It's how we won over $150,000, and you better believe we're looking to run it back. Last year, we got 16th place in Best Ball Mania. This season, we're getting first, and we're winning $3 million, all right? But let me see if we have an issue with the LaCroix. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know. Let me know. Because I'm a little bit worried. If there's no issue with drinking about 10 LaCroix a day, you better believe while they're still on sale at Costco, I'm going to go buy 10 packs of these because I'm addicted. But Torsten says, midnight here in Germany. Let's go. Let's go. Austin says, Mason, I hate to tell you that LaCroix is mid. Hey, I'm one day in, my man. Loving it. Already love the streams. Keep it up. Thank you. Alex says he's in this draft at pick 4. Real quick, if you have not done so already, let me know if you're in this draft and let me know where you're picking from. It looks like we have a couple members of the flock in this draft with us that we will be going up against. Got Tyreek Hill off the board here at 3. I mean, you're not really ever getting Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase falling this far. So, I mean, that's not something that we can really look at. I'll take CMC if he falls to us at 7. Reality, it's probably not going to happen. So we'll get either Stephon Diggs or A.J. Brown here. Garrett Wilson goes at 6 ahead of these guys. Interesting to see the Garrett Wilson pick 6 selection. I mean, you have some hype going for Garrett Wilson. I haven't been taking a lot of Garrett Wilson because I actually kind of prefer Saquon Barkley over him in drafts right now, and he always goes before Saquon Barkley. So, I mean, interested to see if Garrett Wilson begins sneaking into round 1. But Enoch out here saying he's at pick 10. Aiden is always out there picking with us at 7. Carl at the 101. Happy to see you, my friend. Yeah, a crazy pick at 6. Crazy. Dominic says I would have taken Kelce at 7. The majority of people do take Travis Kelce there. And I, in years past, 100% took Kelce every shot that I had. But this season, I'm pivoting off of Kelce. Going into his age 34 season, nobody's talking about the age anymore. Everybody's looking at the fact that he just won the Super Bowl and that he is the dominant player. And everybody's assuming that this maintains. I'm going to zig while other people zag. And I think this is the year I'm going to pivot off of Kelce. Nico coming out says, hey, Mason, just did a Superflex Dynasty Startup Draft. Would love to hear I can improve my roster going forward. Where can I post my team for you? Oh, thank you so much, my friend. Real quick, if you have not done so already, go join the flock on flockfantasy.com. When you sign up to flockfantasy.com in the Mother Flocker package with promo code FLOCK, I go through and I make an entire podcast breaking down your Dynasty team, my friend. So if you are a member of flockfantasy.com, then just get in our Discord, send your flockfantasy.com username in the join here section, and then our developers will set you up with everything. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Saquon Barkley in the second round. This is specifically why we go Stephon Diggs round 1. This is why I go Stephon Diggs over Bijan, over Eckler, over Kelce, over Taylor, because I do think Saquon Barkley is very close to these guys. I think that Stephon Diggs is in a completely different tier than the other wide receivers that you'd be looking at. Like, I think Diggs is in a different tier than Chris Olave. So, yeah, we're going to take Saquon Barkley and be excited about it. Okay. Christian says, got to switch to Spindrift. Healthier and on sale right now. Okay, I'm assuming you're saying LaCroix. So what is not healthy about LaCroix? This, like I said, I'm one day into this LaCroix experience. But if I look at ingredients, it says only carbonated water, naturally essenced. So I don't know. I don't know. Darth Dookie says, Mason, it's been awesome watching your channel grow. Always appreciate the feedback and keep up the kick-ass content. You're the man. No, thank you so much, my man, for hanging out with us for so damn long now. I really do appreciate you. And real quick, of course, if y'all don't know, we're drafting on Underdog Fantasy here. On Underdog, this is a $15 million tournament. You can sign up with promo code FLOCK, and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And also with promo code FLOCK, you are going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings. You'll get a free trial to flockfantasy.com as well. And like we said, that 100% a positive match. And if you think that Underdog's not available where you are, I'm pretty damn sure it is. Here's a map of everywhere that Underdog Fantasy is available in. It is available everywhere but the black states. So not available in Nevada, not available in Washington, not available in Hawaii, Louisiana, Michigan, but essentially available everywhere else. Also available in Canada outside of Ontario, though. So make sure you're going to take advantage of that. Mari off. So looks like we're going to get Jacobs making it to us. So we are going to go with an interesting start out the gate here. Interesting start, yeah. Icarus says Bengals stack at 2. I did notice that team decided to go through and take Joe Burrow at 26. I mean, I understand why you want to reach for it, but in reality, what I'm doing whenever I have that stack is I'm just rolling the dice, seeing if he comes back to us at 47. Because if he does, then we are just going to be crushing the rest of the field. Smelly coming out says, I traded Metcalf, 2024 first, which was late, and James Cook for Jahmyr Gibbs. My team's Allen, Etienne, Chase, Lamb, and Njoku, Garrett Wilson, and Gibbs. It's a 1 quarterback start 8. Okay, if it was a super flex league, I probably wouldn't have been that happy with it, my friend. But with it being a 1 quarterback format, that first round pick is going to inherently be worth a little bit less, and I do think it is okay. I am always very hesitant, however, to go through and trade away 2024 first round picks at this point of the offseason. I'd much rather hold, and if we can, look to get confirmation during the season that we are a true contender, and then go through and trade away your 2024 first. Okay. But Judy goes at 37. So this draft is really all over the place. I mean, you're seeing people go out there and get their guys. Lamar Jackson still falling. So Lamar Jackson goes at pick 39, whereas you saw Joe Burrow go significantly before. Okay, y'all know I'm a big Najee guy, but we already have 2 running backs through the first 3 rounds, so Najee would have been difficult for us to take. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be looking at Christian Watson here. Perfect. Christian Watson, we used to be able to get in a ton of these drafts. I mean, I'm sure y'all have heard me say it a million times. Christian Watson was by far and away my favorite target of the wide receivers that were going at the 4-5 turn. You used to have Christian Watson at the beginning of the 5th, and you used to have DJ Moore going like late 3rd, early 4th. But people are wising up. People have realized, okay, yeah, no, DJ Moore should not be going ahead of Christian Watson. So now it's much more difficult to get Watson, and you will have to take him like beginning of the 4th, or if you get lucky, like he falls for us middle of the 4th round. Okay. Jesse says, let's go. Finally caught a stream. Are you still giving shirts out to Flock Fantasy subscribers? Yeah, so just if you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK and flockfantasy.com with promo code FLOCK, go to the announcements section of the Discord, fill out the Google form, letting me know the email. You'll see all the instructions on the Google form. You'll essentially just have to let me know the email address of those 2 accounts, and then also let me know the size shirt you want, and then on top of that, where you want me to send the shirt to. Aiden says, nice draft so far. Yes, sir. I know you're drafting there at 7 with us, so I'm happy to see how you're doing. But Justin Herbert goes off the board here at 51, pairs up with Mike Williams. So what I did in our $500 draft, I'll make a video about that whenever it finishes, so probably like 2 weeks from now. And yeah, we have Mike Williams late 4th, Justin Herbert beginning of the 5th. Terry McLaurin off the board. Kenneth Walker falling. Y'all know I'm not a big Kenneth Walker fan. I mean, at some point, we'd possibly have to go ahead and pull the trigger on him, though. Okay, what are we doing here? I maybe have taken Kenneth Walker in 1 to 2 drafts so far this entire offseason. At least since the NFL draft, since Zach Charbonnet got added into his backfield. Christian Kirk goes, though. We'll go ahead. We'll pull the trigger on Kenneth Walker. Walker, ADP 48. Like I said, I was not drafting this guy at all. He had an ADP when this contest first opened up where he was going like late 3rd, early 4th round. Now we're getting him middle to the end of the 5th round. This is about the range where I think he should go. This is about the range where I'm fine with it. Of course, I'm not sitting here and jumping up and down with excitement. I think Zach Charbonnet going over to Seattle does give you a big reason to be hesitant based off what the Seattle Seahawks coaching staff is telling us at that point. I don't know. Jake says, DJ Moore is only 26. Why are you fading him? Should be the best quarterback / offense he's ever had. No. The Chicago Bears had the worst passing offense in pretty much modern NFL history last year. Literally a worse passing offense than any team we've seen since 2010. They will be much improved this next season, but to say that they will be good is pretty aggressive, my friend. Definitely pretty aggressive. Okay, so let's swing this back around. So wide receiver, we have Stephon Diggs, Christian Watson. Running back, we have Barkley, Jacobs, and Walker. Okay, Kadarius Toney goes at 64. That was the team that had Mahomes, but still. Okay. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't take Tyler Lockett over Dameon Pierce. I'm sorry. We'll go ahead. We'll take Dameon Pierce at 66. We are going to be strongly inclined to go wide receiver on the way back around. We've gone very heavy running back, but that's where the value has been in the middle rounds. And going back to what we talk about all the time, this is why, in my mind, you have to go wide receiver in round 1 so you're able to take advantage of this middle round running back value. This is why I'm passing on Bijan Robinson in favor of Stephon Diggs. That way, later in the draft, I can pass on Tyler Lockett in favor of Dameon Pierce. So we're really wanting to see wide receivers make it back to us, but it is what it is. Jeep Guy says, hey, Mason, how'd the Murph go the other day? Smoked it, my man. Ooh, smoked it. Okay. Now we have Swift going off the board here, 71. Addison going 70. Dalvin Cook goes. Okay, good for us to see these running backs off, of course. Isaiah Pacheco goes. Perfect. Alexander Madison. All right, so we're going to get a wide receiver that we like on the way back around. We're either going to be looking at Pickens, Burks, Deontay, or Hollywood Brown, or Gabe Davis. Honestly, I do have a decent amount of drafts that have the combo of Stephon Diggs as well as Gabe Davis. What's interesting is, one, Gabriel Davis is on the thumbnail of this live stream, so it gives us an additional reason to take Gabe Davis. And then also, if you're looking at where he was being drafted last year, remember, people were going through and taking Gabriel Davis at the end of the 3rd round. I thought it was crazy then, but hell, nothing's really changed for Gabe Davis in the situation except the cost. So I would be fine taking Davis if he does fall. Brock says, this is the year of hero wide receiver, not hero running back. I'm with you, my friend. We called it last year. We said the quote-unquote dead zone running backs were the best value in drafts. Guys like Josh Jacobs. And everybody thought that they were so smart and they could look at historical data from a completely different ADP list when people valued running backs and wide receivers completely differently. And they were like, okay, yeah, hero running back worked in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. Let's go ahead and let's do the same thing. Whereas in reality, I think if you're looking at data from back then with what worked in drafts back then, whenever you had like the running back 30 being drafted before the the wide receiver 20, and now it's a completely different situation. I think you have to completely change your draft strategy. Dane coming out says, yo, Mason, it's Dane. What are the expectations for Geno Smith? Super happy to see you out here again, my man. With Geno, it's difficult to overlook him just because he's in such a good situation, right? I mean, you are looking at a player that has arguably the best 3 wide receiver set in the NFL with the combo of Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf, as well as Tyler Lockett. On top of this, he has sneaky rushing upside. He had about 20 rushing yards per game this past season. So with Geno Smith, all signs point to he's going to be great this next year. But I personally just have a hard time going all in on it, knowing that he's a quarterback that broke out at 32 years old. I don't know how sustainable that is. It's really never happened before. Can someone else please let me know an example of a player at any position that broke out in his 30s and then had continued success? I could 100% be wrong. Maybe there's someone that I'm not thinking of. But if you have someone off the top of your head, I would love to hear it. Who's a player that broke out in their 30s and had continued success through the rest of their career? Dotson goes, it would have been beautiful having Dotson make it back around to us. It is what it is, though. Okay. Richardson goes 89. Okay. We're put in a tough spot. I'm not drafting any of these wide receivers. I do think the running backs are the best value on the board, but at the same time, I don't necessarily know how we should feel about drafting a 5th running back here. So we'll go Evan Ingram. Don't love it. I don't know. Caliber says Cordell Patterson. I like the answer. I like the Cordell Patterson answer. Doug Flutie. I think Cordell Patterson's probably the best answer. Matt Ryan broke out in 2017. But the thing is, like, Matt Ryan would have, I mean, he was a starting quarterback. He was successful enough to have a starting job. Geno Smith had nothing and then broke out in his 30s. Okay. People are spamming Kurt Warner. Let's pull this up. Yeah, Kurt Warner broke out at 28, but there were no NFL stats on him before 27. I have no idea. Keep in mind, it's the 90s. How old do I look? I don't really know. Vercel says, everyone wrote Drew Brees off. In my mind, you can't be comparing like Geno Smith to Drew Brees. If you're looking at Drew Brees led the NFL in passing yards at 27. Drew Brees had over 3,000 passing yards at 23. If you're looking at Geno Smith, it's just such a unique situation. Like I said, I think he's in a phenomenal spot this next year. But starting in 2015, here are the stats for Geno Smith. 27 completions, 8 completions, 21 completions, 1 completion, 4 completions, 65 completions, and then in 2022, obviously, has his breakout year. I don't know. I just don't know if we've ever seen that before. Okay. As we always talk about, I never want to be drafting wide receivers here. Wide receiver is the grossest position ever at this point. Do I take Courtland Sutton? Do I do it? Y'all know how much I hate Sutton. I'll do it. We need a wide receiver super bad. We're getting him 7 picks behind ADP. We can still get Russ later on. Y'all know, I mean, I am the world's #1 Courtland Sutton hater. Last year, I don't know if we drafted him in a single draft. The quarterbacks don't make a lot of sense for us. I mean, maybe you could make an argument for Daniel Jones to pair up with Saquon Barkley. I don't know. I mean, we just have a lot of stacking options that we could be looking at later on. Jamison Williams goes 105. Jamison is someone that maybe we would take here if it was like a puppy draft, where the only thing that we are looking for is weeks 15, 16, 17. However, if we're looking at the fact that now in Best Ball Mania, you have regular season prizes as well, I do think it's a little more difficult to take a Jamison Williams level player there. Yeah. Guys, I know it's brutal. Now, of course, if I was taking Sutton in round 3 last year, it'd be much worse, but it is what it is. Okay. Every once in a while, we'll do it. Scorpion says, I don't like your team, Mason. I honestly am fine with it. I think it's just going to depend on the values that we can find later on. Running back, we have Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, Dameon Pierce. Wide receiver, we have Diggs, Christian Watson, George Pickens, Sutton. We have Evan Ingram at tight end, so I do think that we'll be able to only have to draft 2 tight ends on this. But yes, I apologize for drafting Courtland Sutton. Hell, even last year, I would have drafted him if he fell to round 9, right? Last year, I would have drafted him if he made it to round 9. Okay, so Alan Lazard goes off the board 110. If we're looking at the wide receivers, after Odell, you do have that massive teardrop. So honestly, it was probably a decent call to take a wide receiver in the last round. Maybe if we would have gone with someone that was a little more on brand, we take Elijah Moore instead. But it's more of an ADP play, trying to come up with a unique team that people aren't going to be able to replicate. Okay. Brock says, the spot you're in now is why I go Lockett over Pierce normally. I want to avoid Sutton types. I 100% want to avoid Sutton types as well, which is why generally in every one of these drafts, I try to grab wide receiver out the gate, and then be able to take advantage of mid-round running back value. But we're actually going to get Daniel Jones on the way back around unless this guy pulls some clown crap. He already had Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson, and Tua. So we will get Daniel Jones, pair him up with Saquon Barkley, getting Daniel Jones about 10 picks behind ADP. Probably would have taken Geno Smith if Geno Smith would have fallen as well. But nonetheless, I think it's a pretty good team now that we're actually able to get Daniel Jones here and have some flexibility and possibly be able to only have to draft 2 quarterbacks. So yeah, I actually kind of like this. Chris says, will there be another puppy on Underdog? Yeah, Underdog's definitely going to have another puppy. I mean, last year they had like 4 or 5 puppies. I have no idea when the next one's going to drop, but yeah, I'm almost certain that they'll have another one. Of course, I can't say anything with 100% certainty, but I don't know. I just don't know when it's going to be. Now, Khalil Herbert, Dalton Kincaid, Elijah Mitchell all go off. So, I mean, here you're really just in a nasty, nasty range where generally I am trying to take quarterbacks and tight ends around 10, 11, 12. Because it's like, what else am I going to do here? Am I going to jump up and down with excitement that we're able to grab Darnell Mooney? Roblin says, everybody liked the stream, 168 likes only. Yeah, if y'all want another draft after this, I mean, hell, we've had 1,000 people watch this. We have over 350 people watching now. Drop a like. If we had 350 likes on the live stream, we'll go ahead and we'll fire up another draft after this one. And if you want to get in our next draft, whether that's after this or tomorrow on the live stream, the next day on the live stream, the next day, we literally do this every single day on the live stream. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100 with promo code FLOCK. And you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings and free access to flockfantasy.com. Okay. So let's look at this. Okay. Goff, we don't have any Lions. Don't really have the potential to grab any later on. Rodgers, we don't have any Jets. Don't really have, I mean, maybe we can go Tyler Conklin later on, McCole Hardman, but are we excited about it? Probably not. Anything we could be looking at Russ on the way back around 12. Okay. Lunar says Mooney equals money with 2 O's. The thing is, Darnell Mooney's just never been productive. And then you throw in the fact that now all of a sudden, I mean, you have DJ Moore in his offense who will be the unquestioned wide receiver 1 there. Roshan goes, I think we're probably just going to go ahead and grab if we grab a tight end, then we'd probably be done at tight end. But the thing is, tight ends that we have later on, like I think tight ends here in rounds 11, 12, 13, they're all about the same. So might as well just grab a wide receiver. We'll take Sky Moore. I mean, it is what it is, just trying to grab a piece of the Kansas City Chiefs offense. Historically speaking, Andy Reid doesn't really use rookies outside of maybe someone like Kareem Hunt, of course. So maybe you sit here and make the argument, oh, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's assume Sky Moore improves going into year 2. In reality, it's unlikely, but who the hell knows? We're getting a piece of the Kansas City Chiefs offense. And if Sky Moore were to improve going into this next season, I think you could be excited. I'll say this. I definitely prefer the Rashee Rice and Sky Moore prices in comparison to what you have with like Kadarius Toney at 64. Like I'll be drafting these wide receivers down here way more often than I'll be drafting Kadarius Toney this season. Okay. Jeep Guy says, Waller percentage, calling top 3 this year. Let me pull this up, my friend. I also want to pull up how much Sky Moore I have because I feel like we've been getting Sky Moore in a couple spots, even if it's not too exciting. Okay. You have Russ going off the board, Condre Miller as well. Okay, so Darren Waller I have in 8% of drafts. So I have Darren Waller right in line with average. Like if you go through and just draft everybody at baseline, should be about 8.3% exposure to everybody in these underdog drafts. So yeah, I'm right in line with ADP and Darren Waller, like not necessarily targeting him, but not necessarily avoiding him. Okay. Romeo Doubs off the board, 134. So it looks like we're probably going to end up with a tight end on the way back around. I'd imagine that Jonathan Mingo goes next. I know a lot of people would say take Jalen Hyatt, get the stack in there with Daniel Jones. I'll take Jalen Hyatt if he makes it back around to us in the 13th. In reality, just Jalen Hyatt is such a gross wide receiver prospect. Like, I expect Jalen Hyatt to honestly be going much later by the time we get to the start of the season than where he's going now. We'll take Jonathan Mingo. I don't like Mingo. I think he's a bad prospect as well, just like Jalen Hyatt. But we are getting value on ADP with him at 120. I mean, at 138 with an ADP of 126. On top of this, we do put ourselves in the position where we're able to grab DJ Chark in the next round and then get a double stack with Bryce Young a little later on. We need a wide receiver. We'll stay a little balanced here. I mean, I barely have Jonathan Mingo at all in these drafts. Like, let me pull this up. I want to say we have Mingo probably in like 4% of leagues. Yeah, I have Jonathan Mingo in 4% of drafts so far. So we have him a little less than 0.5% of what the baseline expectation would be. And this is just a decent price point on him and how he fits our roster construction. But yeah, looking at this, running back, we have Barkley, Jacobs, Walker, Dameon Pierce. Tight end, we have Evan Ingram. Wide receiver, we have Stephon Diggs, Christian Watson, George Pickens, Cortland Sutton, Sky Moore, Jonathan Mingo. And then quarterback, we have Daniel Jones paired up with Saquon Barkley. And we can definitely be looking at someone like Wan'Dale Robinson a little later on. Jake says, Mason, who are your highest owned players? I will pull this up for you, my friends. Alexander Madison was up there. I think it used to go Lance Alexander Madison. But as of late, now that Alexander Madison is significantly more expensive than he was, I mean, we don't have Alexander Madison as our number 2 option. Yeah, we have Trey Lance still number 1, but sadly, Madison is no longer number 2. Daniel says 350 likes for a second draft. Yes, sir. At 350 likes, we will fire up another one after this. Wan'Dale goes 146, so a little painful. It would have been nice having Wan'Dale Robinson make it back around to us. So let's see. I mean, a couple different guys that we're looking at here. There are 3 names in particular that I would like. Okay. That was Breeze on the clock as Rodgers, Kyler, quarterback. Goes Jordan Love, 148. Jordan Love was going to be our target to pair up with Christian Watson. It is what it is. Now we will pivot. Donovan Peoples-Jones goes. So we were going to take DJ Chark, like we were saying, to set up that potential double stack to be able to get Bryce Young later on in this draft. But DJ Chark goes right before us. So instead, we will be stuck with Alec Pierce here, hopefully getting a couple spike weeks there in Indianapolis. But yeah, big thing is we're just trying to find wide receivers that are going to be playing pretty much every down and have access to a couple big play games. And that's really all we need whenever we have Stephon Diggs, Christian Watson holding down the top 2 spots, and then hopefully some upside a little later on. I would assume we have a lot of usable weeks in the flex spot at running back as well. Okay, so let's move this down. MVS going off the board here at 152. Jalen Warren, 153. Tyler Higbee, 154. I think you could make an argument for MVS as well and like take MVS and Sky Moore on the same roster and essentially make a consolidated bet that Kadarius Toney does nothing. Or if like you take a lot of those Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers like MVS, Sky Moore, or like say Rashee Rice, Sky Moore, or Kadarius Toney, MVS. If you grab 2 of those guys and then something were to occur to Travis Kelce this next season, then all of a sudden you are literally just printing money. Okay, so if we're looking at Stafford for potential pairings with this roster, we don't have any Rams. I mean, if we're looking at tight ends, these guys don't make too much sense here. I mean, I'm not a big Juwan Johnson, not a big Sam Laporta guy. I don't know if we've drafted Sam Laporta in a single league. I don't expect to draft him anytime soon either. Okay, I know what we want. There are 3 main guys that I'm going to be looking at here. Dylan says, can always go Campbell/Slayton in the 18th round for your Jones stack. 100%. Yeah, and we already have a Barkley here as well. So, I mean, I do think that you can have a spike week from Daniel Jones that does involve Saquon Barkley. So, I mean, I don't hate it. But yeah, Daniel Jones is just so easy to stack because you just have no idea who the wide receiver is going to be there. You can pretty much grab Daniel Jones and then a different wide receiver in every draft. Okay, Sam Laporta goes 160. Good for us. We're going to be looking at Jaden Reed here. Josh Downs was also going to be someone else that we are in play for. I mean, Jaden Reed does pair up with Christian Watson nicely for us, so maybe we make that one bet that the Green Bay Packers' overall passing offense is going to be better than people assume. So yeah, right now, if we're looking at the correlation that we have with this team, we don't have much. I mean, we have Christian Watson paired up with Jaden Reed. We have Daniel Jones paired up with Saquon Barkley, but from a correlation standpoint, definitely haven't done as good of a job as we would like. Now, wide receiver, we're currently sitting with Stephon Diggs, Christian Watson, George Pickens, Cortland Sutton, Sky Moore, Jonathan Mingo, Alec Pierce, Jaden Reed. So hopefully we get 1 to 2 breakouts with these bottom 4 guys. If we can get 1 to 2 breakouts, I like where we sit because we are dominant at running back with the combo of Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, Damian Pierce rounding us out. And then quarterback, Daniel Jones, tight end, Evan Ingram. So it is interesting. It is interesting. Chris says, wait, do I see Cortland Sutton? What the hell is going on? Sadly, yes, my friend. Sadly, I may or may not have had to draft Cortland Sutton. Now, y'all know, last year we were saying Sutton was the worst pick in fantasy football. I think we were proven correct or pretty damn close to it. But that was in the 3rd round, all right? Sutton has an ADP around 8. We were so desperate for a wide receiver. We get him around 9. So, yes, I am a little sorry. It may or may not be a little bit sorry when it comes to that. Trey Lance goes 171. Definitely was a quarterback that we were looking at adding on, so that is a little painful here. It is what it is. We will pivot, and we'll be able to find someone else that we like. Okay. Salim says, Sutton and Mingo, I just know it hurts you deep down. Yes, I mean, if this is the team that wins $3 million on Underdog this year, you better believe I will be ordering a Cortland Sutton jersey. 100%. I'll be ordering a signed Cortland Sutton jersey if we can. Okay, now, what the hell can we do here? Bryce Young goes. We'll take Kenny Pickett to pair up with George Pickens. I definitely would rather have Stafford over Kenny Pickett in a vacuum, but I do think that they're in a similar range. The thing with Stafford is, I mean, we really aren't looking to add any potential Rams near the end of this. Pickett's not a horrible pick here. I do think that you could maybe make the argument to go through and pass on him and see if it makes it back around to you. But the issue is the team right after us took Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson, as well as Tua. So I do think that you'll have some of these other teams in this league that are maybe a little bit light on quarterback, and we would be less likely to get Kenny Pickett on the way back around. So yeah, we'll go Pickett, and then we'll just figure it out from here. So let's go through and show this team. I do think we can take a 3rd quarterback with this build when we wait to round 10 to take our first guy and round 15 to take our second. But if we take 3 quarterbacks, we're going to be done at drafting 2 tight ends. So let's swing this back around. Right, we can still add in another running back. So I think we have a lot of flexibility. I think from here, 16, 17, 18, we're probably 1 QB, 1 running back, 1 tight end. We're probably done with the 8 wide receivers. Sam says, Steelers fans think Pickett is the second coming of Joe Montana. I have been learning that more and more as I interact with a lot of people that, like, I always say, like, I'm not a fan of any team, but I wish I was because it would probably make football a little more fun. In reality, after interacting with a ton of different fans and seeing just how irrational everybody is when it comes to their own team, I'm beginning to get the sense that it's probably a good thing not being a fan of any individual team, just because it seems like Bears fans think Justin Fields is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Lions fans think that anything that team does means that they're going to be a contender this next season and that every piece there is just phenomenal. Like you're saying, Steelers fans think that Kenny Pickett is extremely disrespected. I don't know. I do feel like the more and more I think about it, the more people have a very hard time staying rational with their favorite teams. So I don't know. Lucas says, Mason drafted Mingo and Sutton, bizarro world. I agree with you, my friend. Needing a wide receiver and those guys being stuck at the last end of their tiers will make you do some crazy things. But I want to see if that was our first league we've drafted Cortland Sutton in. Let me see that. Is this the first draft we've taken Sutton? Nope. I had drafted Sutton in 1 other league. I have Cortland Sutton in 1% of these drafts. Now it'll probably be closer to 2% after this one. Which, hell, that's more than we had last year. It's more than we had last year. Okay, so Jerome Ford off the board. We're done at running back after we go ahead and take Leonard Fournette there. My thing is a lot of these tight ends are about the same. I think that quarterback, it's kind of whatever when we're looking around 18. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes 193. Jerome Ford, good for us. Terrace Marshall, get him off the board. We're probably done at wide receiver as well. But Jeep Guy says 2% too much. I agree with you. A Bean Salad says Bears fans think Fields will throw for 230 plus yards a game this season. That's what I'm talking about. They're crazy, my friend. I know people are going to lose their mind for that. Scorpion says Lions have the best coaching staff in the NFL. Problem is they don't have the talent field. I don't know if you're a Lions fan, but I don't know. But real quick, what I do know is if we hit 350 likes on this live stream, we'll fire up another draft after this. There are more people watching this live stream than 350. So based off my simple calculations, we're going to take Hayden Hurst, pair him up with Jonathan Mingo. I actually like Hayden Hurst's value here. But based on my simple calculations, that means if everybody watching this goes down there and drops a like on the live stream, we'll have another draft going right after this one. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft right after this, Underdog Fantasy, go use promo code FLOCK for 100% deposit match and get our 2023 fantasy football rankings and free access to flockfantasy.com whenever you sign up with promo code FLOCK. But let's slowly show this team because it is gross. So wide receiver, we have Diggs, Christian Watson, George Pickens, Sutton, Sky Moore, Jonathan Mingo, Alec Pierce, Jaden Reed. Quarterback, we have Daniel Jones, Kenny Pickett, and then whoever we get in round 18. Running back, we have Kenneth Walker, Damian Pierce, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Leonard Fournette. And let's see what quarterback we're going to be getting on the way back around. Okay. What QB are y'all getting us? Tank Dell goes 207. Okay. So Barkley to Jones. Jacobs, Jimmy G already off. Geno off. Stroud off. Fournette, we don't know. Bryce Young off. Yeah, we have no potential quarterbacks that we could take that actually go through and correlate with our team. So if we were to take a swing on someone, it's either Purdy or Levis. We'll go ahead. We'll take Brock Purdy. And this is going to be the team where we draft for the possibility of the 49ers saying, you know what? Guy Mason, he's right about Trey Lance. We should go ahead and let's start him. Let's instead throw Brock Purdy out there on the trade block. Let's see what we can get for Brock Purdy. But like I said, real quick, if you want to get another draft going, go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Available in damn near every state. But yeah, I'm not a super big fan of this team. I think the team that we drafted off the live stream today was actually significantly better. Maybe we'll tweet that one out. But yeah, I think that's all I have. Again, thank y'all so much for being members of the flock and supporting the channel. Really do appreciate y'all. And yes, Jay Fresh says anti-flock team. That was a very uncharacteristic draft for us. Hopefully tomorrow's a little bit better. You know, we'll be live streaming an Underdog draft tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day. But again, thank y'all. Really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day and really hope we get to see you with the live stream tomorrow.